Today we're going to be talking about the 5 tips on how to optimize as a female entrepreneur working in business. We're going to be talking about cycle syncing, systems, structure, transition time, rest, all of the good things that really help to just show up in your overflow. So I'm excited for this episode. Let's get straight into it.
It feels so juicy, so nourishing too, right? Before we do though, I got questions,
yes.
rapid fire questions for you.
Of course.
Are you ready? I'm going to shoot it to you. What has been your biggest fail or lesson this week?
Oh my gosh. See, I really like to plan for these rapid fire questions.
You can't. Go.
What have I learned? Well, since we are recording in a brand new studio, I've learned that for 6 years, I have just really not had the right equipment for our podcast. No wonder we've had so many tech failures and microphones and
I reckon what did I say before? We've got all the gear and no idea.
Yeah.
I think we have the equipment. We just don't know how to use it.
Yeah. So if you're looking to start a podcast, just from the get-go, just invest in a setup like this. We've got lights, camera, action happening, and haven't had to set it up. I've got the lovely Caleb here who has set the room up, the mics, the cameras. So my biggest failure was over the last 6 years trying to make a podcast look good when really I just had no idea what I was doing. What about you? Rapid fire.
Next time we got to bring moisturizer for our legs and lollies.
Oh, yes. I really hope that my dry legs can't be seen on the video of this.
Well, all right, into the episode. Talking about, and I think this is something we've learned through trial and error, the 5 things that we personally do to optimize the way that we work and also simplify our focus so we can achieve more and create more, but from our overflow. I think the first one we're going to talk about was cycle syncing, which that was totally foreign to me. Before business, even I think I did my first 3 or 4 years in business without even understanding, and it wasn't till I started delving into moon magic, thanks to Shan, my little moon goddess. And I spoke about it in my book, The Surrender Project too, because that was the first time I really started understanding, I guess, like as a woman, how your energy ebbs and flows throughout your cycle and how you can align certain tasks in your business to optimize and leverage off that energy. And to be fair, I didn't really have those ebbs and flows for the first 4 years of my business because I was on contraception, and I feel like that was suppressed. I wasn't in tune with my body. Has it been something that you've always used or been aware of? Do you use it now in your business?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, I was introduced to it through Alyssa Vitti, I think her name is, in the Flow. She did a few podcasts, which a girlfriend of mine sent to me, and then I bought the book. So I was like, I have never heard of this. Like, I was really in tune with my cycle. Like, I definitely knew like how to track it, and I knew when it was coming and all that stuff, but I actually didn't know about the power of like the different phases of your cycle, like when you're ovulating and etc. That there were like really powerful things that you could do. You could move your body a certain way. You could focus on certain things in your business. You could, just like all of those things I had no idea about. So that was what really introduced me to cycle syncing. And ever since then, like you can't unsee what you read in that book. Like, and then when you apply it, so like there is no way that I would book like say a one-on-one call when it's like day 1 of my cycle, because I would not have the energy. I won't have the capacity to, like, I just know my body. I know that I'm like the best when I'm ovulating in terms of business wise. Like I get more done. Like I can like really be concentrated on what I'm doing. I don't procrastinate. So yes, I really love, actually Alyssa Vitti has an app. It's called Flow, FLO. And that's what I use to kind of be like, oh, what am I in? What's really good to do right now? It's really helpful. But we're such cyclical human beings. Like, that's why I love moon tracking, because it is such a cyclical thing. Like it goes up and downs. We've got yin and yang. We've got ebbs and flows. Like there's times where we're highly energetic and there's times where we're not. So when you really like look at that over a 28-day cycle or however long your cycle is, like it's powerful.
Yeah. And I think when you don't understand it, and I find a lot of women who don't have awareness around it or aren't conscious of it, they beat themselves up because they compare themselves to how men work and they're trying to keep up with male counterparts, because men are like, they just they can be on 24/7, their output is consistent, and then women are like, I was really on last week and I had a really good week, and then this week I feel like blah, and they'll have a week where they feel a little bit insecure and they have the self-doubt that creeps in, and I'm always like, I'm curious, where are you on your cycle?
Yeah.
Because if you can have that awareness, not only can you optimize the way that you work, but it gives you that self-compassion to know there's going to be certain parts of your cycle where you're going to feel more social and outgoing and confident. Other times throughout your month where you're going to feel introspective. So
yeah,
I know when I do my best to structure my business in alignment with my cycle, and I think this is also a big part of being a business owner, is that yes, most of us want to become a business owner because we want the freedom that comes with designing our days. But most of us have the success that we have because we can also self-lead ourselves when it isn't convenient and we don't feel like it. So that obviously there's days where I have to do things that my cycle doesn't want me to do. That's also part of having self-discipline. But where you can, and you can choose to align parts of your business, like Shen said, I think like if I'm going to do like a masterclass, or I'm going to host a training, or you're going to put together a workshop, I try to make sure that's when I'm most magnetic, which is when you're ovulating. It's when you feel social. And likewise, like when I'm on my actual period, I know that's when it's like the closing of a chapter or closing of a cycle. It's when I try to write blogs, or I do like bookkeeping, or things that I don't actually have to network or be social for. So I think that's one thing as a woman. If you can learn how to optimize, it'll help you simplify the way that you do your business and hone in, simplify your focus.
Well, I think as well, like when you try and work like a man who has a 24-hour cycle, by the way, when we have a 28-day cycle, like, I mean, it's not comparing apples to apples.
No. And we're wired differently. I know you talk about this in a few different, I think I've got a blog post on it as well, but not only energetically are men and women wired differently, but like we're wired differently like psychologically as well. So women, we use both hemispheres of our brain, which makes us more intuitive. We're better with like social cues. We're more empathetic. We're men, they use the dominant one side of the hemisphere at a time, which means like they're more like, I can focus on one thing at a time. Like I can't do two things.
Which is a superpower as well. But I think when you understand that we work differently,
you can leverage it.
Yes.
Leverage it.
Yes. So that's definitely been one of my biggest like superpowers in business when I learned that. Next, let's talk about structure and systems, because I personally have spoken to a lot of business owners that do not have any structures or systems set up in their business, and they're so overwhelmed and they're so burnt out, and they're so like, they're kind of just winging it really. They rock up to sit down and work on their business, and it's kind of like, what am I going to do today? Just going to spend hours doing this thing over here. So let's talk about it, because I think this is when you're very intentional with what you're doing and when, you can actually get more done with less time.
Yes, I think it's pretty fair to say anyone who knows me knows how I work will vouch that I'm the get shit done queen. Like,
and just a little side note, you're actually like a level of like get shit done that's like you just can't even compare. Like it's unicorn level, and even like seeing you, like being alongside you in business for so long, I'm like, I just don't know how you do that, but okay.
That's funny because I get that all the time. It's like, I don't get it. Like, how do you do that? And then when I sit down and I coach women, I can see what it is, and I'm the get shit done woman because of my structure and systems. And I think women look at us and think like, how do we do it all? Like, is it a front? And I'm like, it's not a front. Like I don't get overwhelmed very often because I can actually hold it all and do so many things because of my structure and system. So I always think about when I'm sitting down, I had a coaching call even the other week with some of the leaders in our company, and I was teaching them, they're like, how do you do this? And how do you do this? And I'm like, what does your day look like? What structures do you do? Like, what systems do you have in place? Like, if you're doing something more than once and you're duplicating it, like there should be an automation for that. I bet you there's a program for that. There should be a shortcut in your text for that. Do you use this? Do you use that? So I think as a businesswoman, and coming back to the first piece about us being wired differently and us having a 28-day cycle and our energy is going to ebb and flow throughout the month, I think one desire that most business women have is they really do want to feel like they want to feel like they can flow in their business, and they want to have white space. They want to feel spaciousness. But I think you only get the luxury, not the luxury because they're right, but you only get to enjoy those beautiful feminine feelings with masculine structure.
Yeah.
So like I think about like the structure that I have in place is like I know when I'm working, like Mondays, Thursdays, nannies, 3 hours in the afternoon, that's my structure. Then I have 2 hours in the day when Stevie's sleeping, that's my structure. Within my structure, when I'm on, I'm on.
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing in that time. Certain days I have to delegate to certain tasks. We have systems where I'm thinking if this is something I'm going to do, if I'm doing it more than once, like I'll have some kind of program, shortcut, automation. So yeah, it's definitely a big one for me. Like I think if this is something that you feel overwhelmed, I think an overwhelm's a big one. If you're feeling overwhelmed, the first thing I'd get you to look at is where is your structure in your week? So you have focus rather than trying to multitask. When are you on? When are you off? When you're on, what are you actually working on? And when you're working on it, does it have to be done by you, or is there a system that can delegate it, outsource it, do it quicker than you? What about you? What would you?
Well, actually, you said something really interesting just then, and like I love this analogy, right? So, like we're female, and so if you think about like the feminine, it's like water, right? It's like flowy, and I know a lot of women that like are overwhelmed in business. They're like, I just want business to like flow, and I really want it to be effortless, and so like that's the water structure, right? But then if you think about like a glass, that's the masculine structure. That's like the thing that holds the water together in the glass. Otherwise, you've just like, you can't drink your glass of water. So with the glass being the masculine energy in your business, where it's like the structure and the systems and it's like the rigidity, so to speak. And then the water inside it is like the feminine, the flow, the effortlessness. Like that's what makes it possible.
Yes.
So yeah, like with me, obviously I'm like really into my astrology. I actually have my entire week planned out according to like the moon and the planets. So for example, Monday is always moon day, and I'm just like looking over at my calendar right now so I can get this right. Moon day is all about like emotions, because that's what the moon is about, right? So it's like I usually go into my inbox on a Monday and just like, voice message team or getting back to emails. I'm like really feeling into it. Tuesday is Mars Day, and Mars Day is like your get shit done day for me anyway. It's like big action tasks. Like if I've got like urgent things that are needed to be done, like I do them on a Tuesday. My Wednesday is all about my emails. So Wednesday is Mercury Day. Mercury is the planet of communication. So this will be a day that I make sure like I'll create looms if I need to, or I usually have my meeting with my EA on a Wednesday so that we're like communicating what we're doing and who's working on what. Thursday is always a spaciousness day for me. So it's Jupiter Day. It's about having fun. It's about like, yeah, I don't work on Thursdays. So Thursdays is like I have a play group with Rui on a morning, and then I pop him to bed at midday, and then in the afternoon, like we'll just go and like go to the beach or we'll go to a playground or something like that. So that's how I structure my week. Fridays is Venus Day. It's the money day. So I like to do like my reconciling or anything money related I do on a Friday. So yeah, like I know for some people that's a little bit woo, but it helps me because it actually structures my day. I also use Google Calendar because I literally have no idea what I'm doing next. My brain.
I vouch for this.
I am so forgetful.
I still like being your friend and business partner for nearly 10 years. I always like, it baffles me how like, I don't know how your brain works like that. You're just so floaty.
Yeah, but it goes to show that you can be really successful and still be really forgetful.
But this goes to show, as I was about to say, it doesn't matter how full life is or when shit's going on in life, you're always going to fall to the level of your systems. And the reason that you like, you're a high performer naturally, but the reason that you continue to perform high performance is because you have structures that hold you. Like it's never about, I'll forget, because you won't forget because you have structures
in my calendar.
Yeah. And I think that's the whole point of structures, right? Like, yeah, it doesn't matter how good your intention is, especially as women energetically, you'll have days when you feel good, but your structure, you're always going to fall to the structure that holds you. And if you have good structures, that's how we be consistent.
Yeah.
That's how we continue to show up. It's how we're consistent with our output and our performance and our results. Structure and systems, girlfriend.
Literally, like if I didn't have my calendar and everything in it, I would not know what to do. I also, and okay, this just goes to show how bad I am at this, but I'll have it in the calendar, but I'll forget to look at my calendar.
Yeah,
So
I
I
know.
literally have my executive assistant message me every morning to be like, hey, Shani, it's this person's birthday. You've got this on at this time. Here's your day. Like, don't forget to eat.
Oh, we'll have a conversation and then like, we'll agree to do something. The next day I'll ask you about it, like, oh, when we're doing that, I'm like, we spoke about this yesterday.
Yeah,
Like, literally today.
I just like wasn't born with that piece in my brain. I don't know.
But you don't need it. You got structure and systems.
I don't need it. But Google Cal, people that don't have a diary system or a calendar system, I'm literally like, how do you function? Because even if you're good, like you're good, your memory's great, like you're great with all of that, but you still have a diary, like a paper diary that you use, right?
Yeah, like, and even the psychology piece, like in the day and age that we're in, we're always bombarded with info, like whether it's advertisements, it's social media, it's Facebook, it's Instagram, it's TV, like your head is taking in so much stimulus 24/7. And so even it's my secret to how I have white space and I feel calm is I get it out of my head. And yeah, I use tools and systems. Like I've got CRM tools when it's people like, how do you work with so many people at a time? And I'm like, tools. I use Teamsy. Like, how do you remember? Like,
or boards. Boards is great. If you don't know what Boards is, it's this awesome app that just like has all your like regular things that you say all the time to people. You just like, it's a shortcut. So good.
And it's all your systems. So I'm like talking to customers. It's in there when I'm talking coaching clients, in their sales scripts, promotional scripts, campaigns.
Mm-hmm. I have like if someone tags me in something. So if like they tag me in a podcast like episode and then put it on their stories or they repost something of mine, like I've got my thing in Boards of how I thank them and
and all your links. Someone asks you like link for this. It's like Boards.
Popular blogs that I've done that people always ask me questions about. I'm like, here it is. Like I don't have to go to my website and go through my blogs and find it. Like
it's how you optimize your time.
Efficiency.
I love it. Next one I want to talk about is transitions. Transitions as a female business owner, because how do I explain this? I think I remember learning something in my psych degree about this too, and I'll see if it comes to me, but nah, it won't. If it does, I'll let it land back in. But I was talking about, because you know how like I do feel like for women it is really important when we're in, because in a lot of the time when we're doing like we're moving fast, we're making moves and we're leading, a lot of the actual get shit done is in your masculine. And when you're a businesswoman and you come back and you're at home to your wife, your husband doesn't want the get shit done woman. And then your kids don't want the get shit done woman. So like, I think something that's really powerful, the reason I was trying to think about psychology, because I do remember reading something about why men don't necessarily need this, because most of the time they are in their masculine, so they don't have to shift too much into their feminine. But for us, because we do spend a lot of time in our masculine in the work that we do, it's important for us to have transitions to help us like land back into our feminine. So when we say transitions, it's things that help you like energetically change from your masculine or to your feminine, or the other way around.
Like work to home life or home life to work life.
Yeah, and the energy that comes with that too. Yeah. So a transition for me in the morning, like when I'm in the morning, every morning we have slow mornings. That's why I love being a business owner. Stevie and I don't start our day till we want to really. But like I'm in my gym wear, we're in the pool, we're in the sun, we're swimming, we're going to the gym. It's not until I have my shower and I actually get dressed for proper work at around like just before her lunchtime nap around 11:30. Like that's my transition. It's like I feel nice into work mode.
I actually remember I called you the other day, I FaceTimed you and I was like, you look pretty, where are you going? You're like, I'm just like dressing up for work. I loved that. I was like, I need to start doing that. I just work in my gym clothes.
Well, I noticed that like, especially when I wasn't a mum, it didn't bother me because I felt like I got to transition in and out of my energies really easily, because like we'd do a little bit of work, then we'd go to the beach and we'd swim, and then we'd go to the gym in the middle of the day, or we'd go have lunch with the girls in the middle of the day. But now as a mum, I rely on those structures so I can go in between the two. But yeah, transitions in the morning for me is like actually putting on really nice clothes to get into work, and a transition for me at night to like get back into my feminine mode and get back into mum mode and wifey mode. For me is like I have a shower. Like I love having a shower before dinner. I just like get my pajamas, I wash off the day, and I'm like, oh, now I get to be the goofy mum, playful mum.
That's nice.
What about you? Do you do transitions?
I do. A couple of things. Well, my home office is on the 3rd floor of our house, because if it was like down on the bottom floor, I'd probably not be able to transition in and out of mum life, work life very easily. So like even just the act of walking up the stairs like, and just like, I'm going to work, like, you know, going up the stairs. That's literally a transition for me. Also, like, this sounds really silly, but either lighting a candle when I get into my office or even just like burning a little bit of Palo Santo. It's just like activates my senses, like, okay, I'm at work now. So that's what I do. But like in the afternoon, every single afternoon, unless it's like pouring with rain, we like clock off at 4:30, Matt and I, because we both share an office upstairs, and we'll like do the whole walk down the stairs thing. But when we like enter the ground floor where Rui is usually with our nanny, we go and just like we take our shoes off and we go for a nice long walk with the dog at sunset, at dusk, and like no phones, and we just connect, just like run and play, and it's just like such a beautiful way to just end the day. But there's no work. And we also have realized recently, and actually who said this to me? I had a psychic reading recently. This is a little bit like off topic, I digress, but it's relevant. I had a psychic reading recently, and this was happening a lot. She was like, when you talk about business around Rui, like he doesn't like that. You need to stop doing that because he doesn't like that. But I knew that already because every time Matt and I would try and talk about business around Rui, he'd be like, mummy, 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 like, you know, like that little Family Guy baby, like literally like that. Or he'd like play up, or he'd break something, or he's, you know, it's just like you can't finish the conversation. So when she said that to me, I was like, I already know this, but this is just confirmation. So yeah, on that beach walk, there's no business talk. Like Matt and I are both business owners, so it's sometimes really difficult not to talk about it in front of him. But that's our transition out of work, like strictly just like connection, family time, grounding, no shoes, earthing. It's so
I remember the transition about the dude thing, about guys. I I read a book. I love, if you love gender psychology, Alison Armstrong has some really, really good books.
I know exactly what you're about to say because I was thinking about
it. And like if you're like a wife, you might know this, and especially if your man works out of the home. But like if your husband comes home from work and the first thing he does is go and sits on the toilet for like 20 minutes,
that's his transition.
That's his transition time. And it's funny because Alison Armstrong talks about like gender psychology and how women, you support your man and men support their women because we just sometimes we don't understand each other. And she talks about like it can piss women off because especially if you're a mama at home with your kids and you're like, I've been at home all day with the kids, and you just walk in and go sit in the toilet, and they're not actually even, half the time they're not even doing anything. They're just sitting there on their phone for 20 minutes. But that's their transition time. So that's why I was like, I remember reading some psychology about this.
I was literally when you couldn't remember it, I was like, I wonder if it's the Alison Armstrong thing. But do you know when I learned that? Because I used to be so annoyed that he'd come home and be like, sometimes he wouldn't even tell me, but he'd just disappear, and I'd be like, Maddie, where are you? And he's like, I can hear like reels in the toilet. I'm like, you're just sitting in there for like 30 minutes. Like, can you get out? But then when I read about this, I was like, oh, he's transitioning. Like, I get it. Yeah. And that's usually where I get all the funny reels from Matt.
The toilet
back and forth. We just send all the funny things to each other on Instagram. I'm like, oh, that he sent those to me in his transition time. It's not even doing anything in there, just sitting there.
Transitioning.
It's important.
Our fourth thing that helps you optimize and simplify the way you work as a female business owner, is support. And this is something I think was even a big one for me as I transitioned into a mama. And I think this is part of the hustle culture, or maybe it's just the culture that I was not brought up with. I think it was in the media around that time as well. Like women being independent and we got this and we don't need anyone. That's been part of my personal ethos and identity for so long. So when I became a mum, let alone a business owner, I was really bad at this. I think it wasn't until I had a conversation with Shani before I went to New Zealand where she actually pulled me up on it, and like, I was like, yeah, I need to get help. But I think that's a big one. And for some of us, it comes naturally. Some of us are really good at it because we've had good role models show us what it's like to ask for help. And like, you just ask for it freely. I've definitely got a lot better now. But yeah, at the start, I didn't ask for support. Yeah. And now that looks different.
Yeah. I think as well, like going back to that conversation that we had, I think what was happening there for you was like, you didn't want to invest in a nanny because you were like, I want to be that woman that shows people that you can do business and be a mum at the same time. So like, I want to do this around it because I love being with her. But I remember like you were drowning, like you were really struggling at that time. And I remember just saying to you like, babe, like what if it's just 3 hours in the afternoon that you get someone to just like mind Stevie for a little bit, and you were like, oh, but I'm so like, I don't know. And I think what I love about you is you always walk away and like percolate on things, and then you're like, you know what? I've had to think about that, and
You're right.
I'm gonna do something about that. So it was really cool to see you like go and like find someone that you really resonated with. And that first day that you had that nanny, I remember you were like, oh my God, this was so good.
And you know what I think is important though, and this is why I love these conversations, is I think it's important to have women in your circle that are mentors and expanders for you to show you what's possible, because it wasn't until I had conversations with women, I was looking at how other women who are mums were doing business and thinking that they're doing it all, so I must have to do it all, without realizing they have support. And it wasn't until I've had some private conversations, some women that I was comparing myself to, I'm like, they did have a nanny, or their husband was at home with them during the day, or they have family that lived near them. And I was like,
you have none of
I have
those
none of them.
things.
I'm like, my husband works, and out of choice, he's a company, he's out of the house 60, 70 hours a week. I don't have family around here. I didn't have a nanny. I was running a 7-figure business with a baby. And I was like, yeah, maybe you're right. I should get some support and doing it in nap times, which,
sometimes naps don't happen.
No. So support, that was a biggie for me. So I can talk into that, because that was something that I had resistance. I didn't think I got a nanny till the end of last year. So I think Stevie was like nearly 18 months old when I finally got support.
Seriously. This is what I mean, unicorn. I don't know how you did it. But like if you're not a parent, there's so many other ways that you can ask for support. Like, you know, obviously like investing in a mentor or a coach or a guide or a healer or someone to like hold that space for you, I think is really important. Both you and I invest in those things. We always have someone in our corner to hold us. My personality type, I know like one of my weaknesses is I do get really overwhelmed with all the things. And so actually like really early on in my business, I wasn't even earning that much. I think I was earning like, I don't know, maybe $3,000 a month from my business when I decided to invest in a little, like, I shouldn't say a little. She was small, that's why I say little, but a little assistant. I keep saying little, but she was just tiny.
I think I remember
she was smaller than me. I'm quite small. I'm 5'2". But anyway, just to help me with like a couple of things. And like a lot of people would think at that level of my business, like that size of business, like you don't need a virtual assistant or you don't need someone to like delegate things to. But I really struggled. I was like, I'm trying to do too many things and I'm like pulling 16-hour days because I'm trying to do it all. So yeah, I remember it was like 2016 where I got my first assistant, and she only did like 5 hours a week, but it was enough to assist me and help me. And then as time has gone on and my business has grown, like now I have a full-time executive assistant who's literally my angel on earth. She's been with me for coming on 4 years now. No, 3 years. And like I said before, like she helps me run my business. Like
she reminds you to put undies on every day.
Literally, she's amazing. Like it's Rui's second birthday, and I was like, oh my God, can you please help me do an invite? Like done in like so much faster. You do things really fast. I take a long time to do things.
To be fair, sometimes I have a question for him. Like, I'm probably just better off sending it to Beck. Like, I don't even know why I talk to Jenny about some of this stuff.
Sometimes people message me like you, and I'm like, Beck, can you do this? She's amazing. She's full-time. She's worth every penny. She's just phenomenal. And that is my support. Like I naturally get overwhelmed. So I need that support in my business.
So yeah, I think this part in particular is just like, don't look at women who are moving mountains in public and assume they're doing it by themselves, because I can assure you they're not. They have support around them. So if you have resistance, like I said, if you've got kids, it's nannies, it's daycare, it's family, it's partners, it's asking friends. And even without kids, like we said, it's coaches, it's mentors, it's even if you are leading teams and you have companies, it's raising leaders, it's getting support in your company and in your business to make sure that you're going to have a bottleneck in your business if it's all on you. You need the support, the structure and the systems to be able to expand and to scale.
Yeah, for sure. Last tip, rest, my favorite topic. Says me, who just came off a 1 month rest for my business. It was amazing. Like every time I take time off, not because I'm running away from my business. I'm not running away. If you're running away because you're overwhelmed and stressed and overwhelmed, like there's a problem there. When I say I take a rest from my business, it's like literally to just declutter my mind and become like an open channel for downloads and guidance. And this is where like my creativity gets activated, like all these new ideas flow in. So yeah, I think rest is so important. I strategically have rest like throughout the year, but this can also look like weekly, like daily. You can implement rest, like in my calendar with all my things that I've got, like I've got white space in my calendar. Like literally it's purple. Purple like time blocks in my calendar is shiny time. Even throughout the week, like I mentioned before, like Thursdays, day off, weekends, day off, like putting that rest throughout the week, I think is really important, in particular for female entrepreneurs. Like I I'm not saying like do less, because that's not the message. It's
optimize
like,
the way you work, and you
yeah.
need rest. Like rest is productive.
Mm.
Like, I'm loving all his content right now. So if I've referenced him a lot, it's just because I'm just consuming all his stuff. But in our first podcast episode, we spoke about 10x is it easier than 2x? That's what
10x.
Dan Sullivan, he's an organizational psychologist. I'm reading one of his second books now, and I can't even tell you what it's called, but the 4 C's maybe, or who, not how. I don't know. I'm reading all these books. But
P.S. Lauren speed reads. Like she can read a book in like a freaking day. Again, unicorns. I know you can't think of the name of the book because you've probably read them all.
So many. I love it. But because he does organizational psychology, and he focuses on high performers and productivity. And something he's noticed, which I think fits really nicely into what we're talking about. And this is just for women, but I think women in particular with our energetic ebbs and flows and needing rest. And this kind of actually comes into this, even backs up your science with how you do your week. He says high performers usually have 2 performance days in a week. So 2 days where it's like a podcast, like you're on peak, you're showing up, like 2 performance days, which is a high paying activities. Then he says you have 3 filler days. So filler days is like doing all the stuff in between, like maybe the emails, the preparation, the back end systems, but you only have to be like, you know what I mean? Like showing up extroverted 2 days, filler days 3 days, and then rest 2 days. And that comes back.
That fits exactly
what you
with
said.
my astrology thing.
And that's kind of how I do it too, with like the nanny comes on a Monday and Thursday. Mondays and Thursdays are my sales calls, my coaching calls, my training calls. And the other days, like I'm emails, blogging, social media content, like finances, all the things. But yeah, he was saying like this is where you focus on the 80-20 rule. When if you focus on the 20% of the actual high paying activities and you hone down on that, you make sure you do those 20% on your 2 big days. That's what's going to move the needle in your business. So coming back to the rest piece, even high performers, and if you want high performers to continue to perform sustainably, it's because they prioritize rest. Yeah. And as business owners, I think the number one driver for business owners is we start businesses because we want freedom. And if you can't go away and have a holiday and not turn off from your business, you're still a glorified employee. Yeah. So
and to be fair, like that was my first 7 years, because I would go on holiday, but I'd work on holiday.
Yeah.
Like I was constantly, like I'll never forget, like a trip around the world that Matt and I did for our honeymoon, 12 months. I mean, I was obviously traveling for 12 months, but like I didn't take a break. Like I was doing calls in airports and emails at all times of the day. Like I didn't actually switch off.
Yeah.
And I think I gifted, quote unquote, myself time off like that for the first time, like after Rui was born, because when I became a mom, like I couldn't hide from the fact that I actually needed to rest.
Yeah.
So I could be a really good mom. So I could, like, I was already sleep deprived, but
you could recover because you just grew a human.
Yeah. Literally I had to heal. But like I couldn't do business like I used to do it before, because I needed sleep. I needed to, like, obviously there was this new transition of going from like mum life to work life. So like I needed more rest in my weeks and in my days. And when I started to gift that to myself, I realized how I could actually get more done by, doing less.
Yeah. Creating more from your overflow. So yeah, rest just to wrap that up so you can have some tangible things that I know we spoke about, rest can be like weekends, and both of us don't work weekends, like really good with your boundaries, like rest, turning notifications off.
I don't have any notifications.
Yeah.
Like when our nanny called in sick today, she messaged us on Instagram, but I do
Shen
not.
don't get nothing. You got to communicate through me.
Yeah.
Shen's just floating, or her EA. Weekends off, rest, joy menus, like Shen said, putting stuff in your calendar. Like my joy menu every day, and this probably is even easier when you're a mum and I go to the gym every day for me, but because it's a creche, so I'm like, the creche is amazing. So I get me time and sauna every day. Putting frequent holidays in. So like Dan and I, same thing. We like put 3 holidays in at the start of the year. We planned intentionally, like making sure like if you're going to do like 3-month bursts of like real focus action, making sure you're rewarding yourself with rest or like celebrations, holidays, just staycations. Like you can stay at home. Yeah, I think that's it. Notifications off, boundaries.
I think that with the joy menu thing, that's an important one because like a joy menu is all the things that like light you up or make your heart skip a beat. So it's, for me personally, it's things like the walks in the afternoon, like with the family, or it's like literally swimming in the ocean, sunbaking, reading, listening to a podcast, going for a walk, cuddles with my dog Hoz, like just like listing all these things out that actually bring me so much joy. But then infusing those things in your day, like that's why I've got white space blocked out in my calendar so I can literally look at, well, how can I infuse joy in my day today? Because otherwise, if you're just doing like 9 till 5 or 9 till 9 of like working on your business, there's going to be a point where it's not going to be fun anymore. There's going to be a point where it's going to be a chore and your business like becomes this like energetic, like I just need to do it to make money thing rather than I'm doing it because I get to live a freedom-based business or a life where I actually have meaning and purpose and also get to do the things that I love and really mean a lot to me. Like I think that's like
the point.
That's the point.
That's the point.
Like for me, the reason I left my job was because I felt like I was in a box, you know, as a nurse, and the reason why I started my business and left my job was to get out of that box. But then like for a little bit there, I feel like I put myself in another box, this box of like this business owner that worked all the time and didn't infuse joy and rest in my day because I thought that's what created success. So I just went from one box to another. And it was just like, yeah, I think when I realized, wow, the power of sabbaticals and rest and joy, and like that's a freedom-based business. You get to do, that's why you do those things.
Yeah. And it's what, and coming back to what we spoke about in our last episode, like, you know, I said one of my things this year was like, I don't want to be I was trying to be relatable. Like you showing women how you can create business in their joy with rest, like you get to have that.
Yeah.
Like that might not be related for women, but you don't, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if this is going to come across like, but that's why you need to share it so women know that like there is this is available.
Yeah.
They need to know that is available, that is accessible, that's possible.
Yeah.
Because I think for a long time, like we work like men. We think that's how we're supposed to do it. And we work like, if you don't have exposure to like female entrepreneurs who are building sustainable business. I know a lot of women who've built businesses probably like we did in the first 3 or 4 years who then burn out, blow it up.
Yeah.
And you're going to get to a point where it's going to be a bottleneck or you're going to burn out, and you need to learn and have expanders and mentors in your circle that can show you how to do it soulfully and sustainably. So
yeah, this has been good chat.
Good chat. There were some things I wanted to reference. I think you might have had them like from her Renaissance. So if you're somebody who wants to come and join us in that beautiful self-led program.
Well, we talk about scheduling in it's week 1 of her Renaissance. It's like we get right into this topic in week 1, and the workbook comes with like an activity where, depending on like how your brain works, you can schedule your day and your weeks out differently, because all of us are different. Like I need the structure of Google Cal, for example, because of how forgetful I am. You do really well with a paper diary because you're a unicorn. So like the activity in week 1, doesn't matter what your style is, like it allows you to choose like how you're going to structure and how you're going to schedule.
it gets you to infuse your joy too. So there is an activity in there where it gets you to think about what is your joy menu and what are things that you're going to prioritize, because like they activate you. Like feeling good activities are money producing activities. Like you need to, if you want to magnetize people, you need to turn yourself on. And like little things like you said, it's the walks on the beach. It's for me, I get a massage. We have the same masseuse. Weekends on every second Sunday. He's like,
he came to my house after you last Sunday. Did you get a massage last Sunday? Yeah, he
I'm
came
pretty
to me
sure
after 2:30.
Yeah. So things like that, your joy menu is the best. It's the best.
But yeah, with her Renaissance, I'm going to pop it in the show notes, the link to it, because I think this topic that we're talking about right now is so important. And the fact that we cover it in week 1, like it's straight off the ground and we go running straight into it, it brings so much spaciousness into your business. Like you really get to enjoy business. You get to be satisfied. It gets to be joyful. And that's why we do business, right? We didn't come here to be put in a box. So I'll pop it in the show notes, as well as 10x is better than 2x, and maybe his other books that you can't remember you've read. We'll put those in the show notes too.
Before we finish though, my rapid fire question for you is, what or who are you celebrating or appreciating this week?
Oh, I'm really bad at these rapid fire things. I feel like I really need to think about this. It's like, this is the Manny Jen in me. Can you answer first?
Yes, I am appreciating and celebrating my hubby Dan, because tomorrow I'm off to see James Taylor. I don't know if some of you may not know James Taylor. I swear I should have been born in the 70s. I won't sing them for you. He sings some old school songs. So I'm going to Melbourne for his concert, and Dan is having 2 days at home with Stevie so I can go. So I'm appreciative and grateful for him, so I can have some time baby free and let my hair down with my brothers and my dad.
That's nice. I'm actually going to celebrate our nanny, Lani. Now, she's not just any nanny. She is like, talking about structures and systems, this chick, like she has impressed me so much.
You can't steal it, by the way. We're not plugging her so you can steal our nanny. No, she's ours.
We're not going to link her in the show notes. She's phenomenal. Not only is she great with the kids, but her systems and her structure, like she unfortunately was sick today, but like she had a nanny coming to my place without even telling me on the way. But like that, she's so professional, like her contracts and just her booking system, she just makes life so easy. And she is one of the biggest reasons why we get to have spaciousness in our work week. So I'm going to plug Lani today. Love you, Lani.
Love you,
You're
Lani.
Amazing. And our babies get to have a plate date together on a Monday.
Cute. Sometimes I wish, Shani, you'd let me put Rui's face on Instagram, because the videos I have of Stevie and Rui, like they play and they're always cuddling, and I want to put a photo up, but
you can put a photo up.
No, because Rui's face is always in it.
Yeah, but you can put the back of his head in.
He's always looking because he's trying to get a kiss from Stevie too.
Yeah. Well, that was a beautiful episode. If you found value in this, please subscribe, leave us a review. It really helps to promote our channel. We're just so excited for this season. We've got so many amazing guests coming. If there's anything you want us to talk about specifically, make sure you drop into our inboxes on Instagram. We'll pop those in the show notes too, because we want some inspo. Like, what is it that you need? What do you need to listen to?
Who do you want to see in the show? Like if we were to because the whole point of this season is the era of more. So if there's women that you're really inspired by and you're like, I want to know how they've created more. How do they move? How do they lead? What are the beliefs they had to crack through? Like, let us know who you want to hear from.
Yeah, we'll get them on.